regret what I did for love, what I did for love.
Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Gone, love is never gone. As we travel on, love's what we'll remember.
Kiss to take goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for
Love. As we look at the world around us, we realize how miraculous Jewish influence on the world has always been.
Almost every element of modern culture has been influenced by the creative forces of the Jewish people. Hollywood, music, and comedy have been influenced by the great Jewish creative forces.
But one of the greatest Jewish miracles was a young child of immigrants who spoke no English, yet he ended up miraculously changing the very essence of modern theater in America and the world.
Zu sein oder nicht zu sein. Oder da liegt der Hund begraben. Zies ist etwas nobler. Euch zu stehen die Pfeil und beugen von dem Paskuden im Geurl. Oder sich stellen entgegen dem Jan mit Zores. Und einmal vor allemal macht ein Eck. Asof, Potter Anese, genug, fertig. Ich hab schon nicht kein Keuer.
Avi, was that Hamlet in the Yiddish language?
Yes, it was.
Well, I know Shakespeare has been translated into many, many languages, but what in the world does Shakespeare's Hamlet and Yiddish have in common?
All right, well, I'll give you a hint. It is a man who ended up changing the very essence of theater in America and the world, not to mention envisioning free Shakespeare for the public.
That could only be one person, Yosl Papierovsky.
Yosl Papierovsky.
Yosl Paparovsky, a.k.a. Joseph Papp, the esteemed producer and founder of Shakespeare in the Park and the Public Theater in New York. Today would have been his 100th birthday, and we are here to celebrate his life.
Yosl was born in Brooklyn in 1921, the son of Jewish refugees from Poland and Lithuania.
As a child, he was immersed in the beautiful, deep, and rich Yiddish language and culture. Yiddish was actually his first language, which is why he so enjoyed hearing anything in Yiddish.
Wenn die Sonne verstellt die sieben Chmares
Und Jupiter ist gleich mit Mars.
dann Liebe und Scholem wollen kehren mit die Planeten und die Sterne.
Well, maybe we should all sing it in English.
That's a good idea.
when the moon is in the seventh house,
and Jupiter aligns with Mars,
And peace will guide the planets,
and love will steer the stars.
this is the dawning of the
age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. Sympathy and trust abounding,
No more falsehoods or derisions.
golden living dreams of vision,
Mystic crystal revelation,
and the mind's true liberation. Aquarius, Aquarius,
Yosl was the son of Yeta Mirich, a seamstress from Lithuania. And Shmuel Papierovsky was a trunk maker from Poland.
As a 6-year-old, Joe got lost in the subway from Brooklyn to New York. The subway doors closed. His father remained in the subway while young Joe stepped out onto the platform by mistake and got lost. People wanted to help, but the little boy only spoke Yiddish.
The police were called, but the boy was hysterical until his father finally showed up. This event was instrumental in the development of the man who was to become Joe Papp.
As a child, Yosl was known for his beautiful voice. In his singular concert at the Ballroom in 1978, Joseph Papp told the earliest of his memories of singing.
my father used to call it bagleit, which means in Yiddish, harmonize. So my sisters and my brother, myself, would sit around and sing. You see, I lived in a very poor neighborhood, and this man, Mr. Finkelstein, he was going through the neighborhood scouting for poor Jewish boys who he could train for the high Jewish holidays. Now, he was told that I was a great singer, that I had a schöne Stimme, that's Yiddish for a beautiful voice. So this Mr. Finkelstein, he gets himself up to the 5th floor, and he's breathing very heavily, and he knocks on the door.
Yes?
I'm Mr. Finkelstein. You sing? You want to make a little money?
I'd love to.
Well, on the high holidays, you can sing in the choir. Here's what you do. You come to my house every day for 3 months. I live in the Bronx. I'll train you. You'll become a boy soloist. You'll sing on the high holidays. You'll make $35.
Gee, that's fine. I'll do that.
So, every day for 3 months, I did that. And finally, after 3 months, Finkelstein says,
All right, Yosl, you're ready. We're going to have rehearsals tomorrow morning. The shul is on 914 Ocean Parkway. You be there sharp 11 o'clock. The whole choir will be there.
I'll be there.
and so the next morning, my tate, my father, and me, we get on the IRT. And then we get on the BMT. And we take the Avenue Z bus, the Avenue U bus, and finally, we are out near some big empty lot, somewhere in Flatbush, I think it was. And I says,
Tatala, I think we are Flarblungen.
that means irretrievably lost in Yiddish. And my father says,
Don't worry, Yosl, we'll find the place.
and he was right. An hour and a half later, we found the place. And it was beautiful. This old Portuguese Jewish shul, a synagogue. And I knocked at the door, and this tall man with a black coat and a yarmulke, a skull cap, He growled at me.
Vad do you want?
Mr. Finkelstein asked me to come get a ticket for the high holidays so I can be here.
You got any money?
What do you mean?
You got $35?
No, I don't have $35.
Does your father got for the $35?
Jeez, my father doesn't got $35.
Well, you can't go to shul on the high holidays unless you pay, and it costs $35.
You have to pay for religion?
I was very young then.
Fine. Do you know who I am?
I am Yosef ben Shmuel, Yerucham Halevi.
This is my father, Shmuel.
Ah, why didn't you say so? Come in, we've all been waiting for you.
So I see Mr. Finkelstein, and for the first time I hear voices singing that very music that I had been listening to on the piano for 3 months. And Finkelstein says,
just sing.
and so I got up on that platform and I sang my heart out. Now, what you are about to hear is the actual recording of Joseph Papp singing that cantorial selection.
Tzadik, tzadik, tzadik Adoshem, tzadik, tzadik, bechol derochot, Elohim berov chasdecho, Aneni behemes yishecho, behemes yishecho, Asher loy hayom vehu asor, v'yabeshes yodov yotzoro, v'yabeshes, 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 v'yabeshes yodov yotzoro.
Joe believed that singing was a direct communication with God, and he was an atheist. He recalled that his people were happy people, very happy. They loved to sing and dance, and they loved freilich music. Freilich in Yiddish means happy and joyous.
I got life, mother. I got laugh, sister. I got freedom, brother. I got good times, man. I got crazy ways, daughter. I got $1 million charm, cousin. I got headaches and toothaches and bad times too, like you. I got my hair, I got my head, I got my brains, I got my ears, I got my eyes, I got my nose, I got my mouth, I got my teeth. I got my tongue, I got my neck, I got my back, I got my tits, I got my heart, I got my soul, I got my back, I got my ass. I got my arms, I got my hands, I got my fingers, got my legs, I got my feet, I got my toes, I got my liver, I got blood, I got life, mother, I got laugh, sister, I got freedom, brother, I got good times, man, I got crazy ways, daughter, I got $1 million charm, cousin, I got headaches and toothaches and bad times too, like you. I got my hair, I got my hands, I got my brains, I got my ears, I got my eyes, I got my nose, I got my mouth. Well, I got my teeth, I got my tongue, I got my chin, I got my neck, I got my tits, I got my heart, I got my soul, I got my back, I got my ass, I got my hands, I got my fingers, got my legs, I got my feet, I got my toes, I got my liver, got my blood, got my guts, I got my muscles, I got muscles, I got life, 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 life.
He would think of his father when he sang. The songs he loved were very much related to his childhood. In some way, he felt that singing was an expression of all of that.
It was a tribute to his father and his mother. the people who gave him something without making a point of it. They left him no money. They were very poor at the end of their lives. But what he was given was very, very important. His parents gave him a heritage.
And there was one song that was really sweeping the Jewish neighborhoods at the time. The Andrews sisters had made a record of this particular song in English. And then the whole world knew about it. Not only the Jews, but the others also knew about it.
And they all thought that the song was called Joseph, Joseph.
But he knew that the real title of the song was Yosl, Yosl.
Mandy Patinkin, Joe's close friend, had a lot to say about his relationship with Joe.
Years ago, Joe Papp called me up and asked me to do a song for a benefit for YIVO Institute for Jewish Research at the Shubert Theater on Broadway. And he said, you need to sing a Yiddish song. And I said, I don't know one. And he said, what? It's about time you learned one. So he sent me over the song Yosl, Yosl. And I loved Joe. He was like my father. He was the most important person in the world to me. He signed the ketubah at my wedding. So Joe came over one night for Shabbos dinner, and I had recorded Yosl, Yosl, which I played for him, and he looked at me and he said, you must learn this music. This is your job. And I knew what he meant. He meant that for whatever reason, I'd been given the privilege to sing, and that it's my turn to get in the long line of people who've been carrying on this tradition, a tradition that was almost decimated in World War II, where so many voices were silenced. Now it was my job to get at the end of that line and to pass this tradition on whomever would listen.
That's when Mandy Patinkin recorded his well-known Yiddish album, Mame Lashon, which means mother tongue, on which he sang this song.
Mein Chayes geht mir raus, ich will, ich halt mich aus. Mein Haus tut wer weh, gehona schier.
Es ist mir heiß und kalt, und ich wär greu und alt, und weißt ihr Menschen, was es quält mir.
Die Liebe brennt a Schreck, ich will, ich sterbe weg. Noch einmal lassen, lo mein dir.
A Bocher, a Schener, ich geh euch vor seine Beine.
Yosl, ich kapier noch dir. Oi, 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 Yosl, 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 Yosl.
Mein Chayes geht mir raus doch dir.
Oi, Yosl, yo, Yosl, Yosl, Yosl. Dein Malke sitzt noch auf dem Tier. Oi, 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 Yosl, Yosl, Yosl.
Ich hole mir jeder Nacht von dir. Ich geb dir jetzt ein Rohre, noch einmal ein Zore. Yosl, ich kapier noch dir.
Oi, oi, oi,
Yosl, 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 Yosl. Mein Chayes geht mir raus doch dir.
oi, Yosl, yo, Yosl, Yosl, Yosl.
Dein Malke sitzt doch als und wart auf dir.
Oi, 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 Yosl, 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 Yosl.
Ich hole mir jeder Nacht von dir. Ich geb dir jetzt ein Rohre, noch einmal ein Tore. Yosl, ich kapier noch dir. Und mit dir jetzt ein Rohre, noch einmal ein Tore. Yosl, ich kapier noch dir.
As a teenager, Joe felt he was always in danger of some kind. He was beaten up, there were stabbings, he'd even seen someone with a knife in his chest. And he learned at that time, if you hit first, you have a tremendous psychological advantage. He was only 12, and he picked that up.
In those days, he had no idea what culture meant, but he knew what was good. He knew a good baseball player, a good dancer, and he knew a good song. Mother said straight ahead, not to delay or be misled. I should have heeded her advice, but he seemed so nice. And he showed me things things, many beautiful things that I hadn't thought to explore. They were off my path, so I never had dared. I had been so careful, I never had cared. And he made me feel excited, well, excited and scared. When he said, "Come in," with that sickening grin, how could I know what was in store? Once his teeth were bared, though I really got scared, well, excited and scared. But he drew me close and he swallowed me down, down a dark, slimy path where lie secrets that I never want to know. And when everything familiar seemed to disappear forever, at the end of the path was Granny once again. So we lay in the dark till you came and set us free, and brought us to the light, and we're back at the start. And I know things now, many valuable things that I hadn't known before. Do not put your faith in a cape and a hood. They will not protect you the way that they should. And take extra care with strangers, even flowers have their dangers. And though scary is exciting, nice is different than good. Now I know, don't be scared, Granny is right, just be prepared. Isn't it nice to know a lot, and a little bit not?
Joe knew, for instance, that Irving Berlin, a Jewish composer, wrote good songs. He wrote such Jewish classics as White Christmas, Easter Parade. Joe wondered, couldn't he have written White Hanukkah or Passover Parade? But he knew those were great songs in the American tradition.
He also knew that when Irving Berlin was a younger man, he wrote songs about his own people. He wrote songs about the Jews of Eastern Europe who were living there under pogroms, conscription, brutality, denied their rights, and all the Jews there had one thought in mind: to come to this country, just like Joe's parents.
They wanted their children to grow up in this country, the United States, the Golden Land, the land of freedom and opportunity. This was one of Joe Papp's favorite songs.
Where the dreamy Volga flows, there's a lonely Russian rose, gazing tenderly down upon her knee, where a baby's brown eyes glisten. Listen, every night you'll hear her croon a Russian lullaby. Just a little plaintive tune when baby starts to cry. Rock-a-bye, my baby, somewhere there may be a land that's free for you and me, and a Russian lullaby.
The words communist and socialist, which sound so reprehensible to so many people today because they've been used as maligning words, even death words. Those words were beautiful words to Joe.
To him, they represented fearlessness, a stand against appalling social conditions, a way of creating a world that was free of injustice. It was clear to him that there were two classes, the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor. Joe was one of the poorest kids in his high school class.
Rock-a-bye, my baby, a land that's free for you and me and a Russian
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of your players do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand thus, but use all gently. For in the very torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of passion, you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who for the most part are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for o'erdoing termagant. It out Herod's Herod. Pray you, avoid it.
Having learned English as a second language, Joe fell in love with Shakespeare's eloquent use of words. He found in the Bard's plays a way of escaping the bleakness of his poverty, his poverty-stricken youth, where he was forced into shining shoes, hawking peanuts, and plucking chickens to make a living.
Wherefore rejoice, what conquest brings he home, what tributaries follow him to Rome, to grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels.
Being from a different cultural tradition, Shakespeare was a stranger to Joe. He had no particular interest, but he knew a good speech when he heard one. It all sounded like music.
He was in junior high school, and his teacher, Eulalie Spence, read a short passage from Julius Caesar. It was a speech about rousing people to action and loyalty. He loved that speech.
You blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome.
He identified with the character. He was protesting some injustice done to someone he cared for. He didn't understand a lot of the words, but it sounded so good. And he memorized it. He didn't admit to anybody that he loved Shakespeare, because on his block, they would have beaten him up if they'd known.
But what he experienced more than anything else, more than poverty, was anti-Semitism, ethnic prejudice, and racial inequality. He knew that hatred was only skin deep. Almost anything could trigger these horrible human traits.
But he felt that theater could change the world and was most alive when it was attached to what's going on outside of it. So it was always the interaction of these two elements that were of interest to him. As a matter of fact, the first production of Free Shakespeare in the Central Park was The Merchant of Venice, starring the legendary George C. Scott as Shylock the Jew.
And since Yiddish is over 1,000 years old and was spoken by most European Jews, it is conceivable that Shylock might have spoken Yiddish. This is the monologue in which Shylock, the moneylender, wants his bond carried out, which is to exact a pound of flesh from the merchant. And he's asked, how could he be so cruel and unforgiving?
Ich bin a Yid.
I am a Jew.
Hat denn nicht a Yid kein Augen?
Hath not a Jew eyes?
Hat denn nicht a Yid kein Hand?
Hath not a Jew hands?
Kein Everim,
Organs?
kein Chushim,
Senses?
kein Gefühl,
Feelings?
kein Leidenschaft.
Passions?
Ob ihr stecht uns, geht von uns kein Blut nicht.
If you prick us, do we not bleed?
Ob ihr kitzelt uns, lachen wir denn nicht.
If you tickle us, shall we not laugh?
Ob ihr versammt uns, sterben wir denn nicht.
If you wrong us,
If you poison us,
shall we not?
if you poison us,
If you poison us, do we not die?
Und wenn ihr tut uns schlecht, soll mir nicht nehmen keine Komme.
If you wrong us, shall we not revenge?
How can people be so heartless? How can people be so cruel? Easy to be hard, easy to be cold.
How can people have no feelings? How can they ignore their friends? Easy to be proud, easy to say no.
Especially people who care about strangers, who care about evil and social injustice.
Do you only care about the bleeding crowd? How about a needing friend?
I need a friend.
How can people be so heartless? You know I'm hung up on you. Easy to be proud, easy to say no, easy to be proud, easy to say no.
But we are not here only to extol the virtues of Velvo Shikl-Pierovsky.
William Shakespeare's Yiddish name.
We're also here to rediscover, as Joe did, his rich and deep Yiddish and Jewish identity.
Joe was eventually known as the hero who brought free Shakespeare to the park in New York and around the world. By his iron will, dedication, and amazing fundraising skills, he became the founder of New York Shakespeare Festival and the Public Theater.
Now, many books have been written about the amazing contributions that Joe Papp made to the theater world. I mean, he was constantly in search of new talent. Among them, playwrights, directors, actors, dramaturgs, and designers. He revolutionized the theatrical process by developing the concept of the workshop, which allowed the creative teams to slowly experiment without the pressure of an imminent opening night until the product was ready. For instance, the stunning Liz Swados musical Runaways, workshopped for 5 months.
And the hits kept coming. Hair, the musical version of Two Gentlemen of Verona, The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
For colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough.
Liz Swados' Alice in Concert, starring Meryl Streep. Charles Gordon's No Place to Be Somebody, the first off-Broadway play to win the Pulitzer Prize.
And of course, Papp's groundbreaking production of Michael Bennett's Pulitzer Prize-winning musical, A Chorus Line.
By developing the workshop concept, he was able to present over 700 productions. He produced the plays of David Rabe, Tom Babe, David Henry Huang, and Jason Miller, among so many others. His 1985 production of Larry Kramer's play, The Normal Heart, addressed the prejudice and the political system which was turning its back on the AIDS crisis and the gay community.
From the revolutionary productions of Hair and Chorus Line to today's productions of Fun Home and Hamilton, Joe Papp's legacy lives on forever.
Barry Edelstein, who served as a director of the Public Theater's Shakespeare Lab Conservatory and the Shakespeare Initiative between 2007 and 2012, said this of Joe.
In his later years, Joe became very, very Jewish. He started studying Talmud, brushing up on his Yiddish, and taking stock of his life. And every Jewish organization in the city was clamoring to honor him.
But my mother, Columbia University professor and journalist Miriam Hoffman, interviewed him for the Jewish Forward newspaper, and boy, did they hit it off.
Miriam's relationship with Joe Papp began in 1985. They had an instant rapport. He fell in love with her Yiddish and she with his charisma.
Joe invited her to create a Joseph Papp Yiddish theater. And on January 19th, 1989, the first modern revolution in Yiddish theater was born, Songs of Paradise, a hybrid Yiddish-English musical comedy which opened in the Susan Stein Shiva Hall at the Public Theater.
The opening night party was at the famous Sammy's Romanian restaurant with chopped chicken livers and jars of schmaltz, pure goose fat.
At 12 midnight, Joe picked up the New York Times and read the review.
There is surely nothing now on stage in New York that is more sprightly in any of our city's many tongues than Songs of Paradise, the first production of the Joseph Papp Yiddish Theater.
All the reviews were raves, and the show sold out for months.
Adam, the first human, enters in a Hawaiian shirt with a beach chair, sits, and pulls out a sun reflector to get a tan.
And when Adam saw how lonely paradise could be, he pulled out one of his ribs, handed it to the nearest angel, and in return, he received the first wife, Eve.
Eve enters in a pink unitard and a leopard skin muff.
And when they both saw how utterly boring paradise could be, they hooked up with a lecherous snake and a strategically located apple tree.
Behold the apple tree, sensuous and seductive, dangerous and destructive.
Psst, psst. Hey, little girl, wanna play?
Okay.
Where are you going?
I don't know. All the stores are closed.
Are you hungry? Want a nice piece of fruit?
I don't think I should.
Oh, come on.
Guck noch an a Bäum, a Mannsbill. Look at that tree. What a hunk. Mamisch Gott's Wunder. Jede Zweig besonder. A perfect specimen. Every branch in the right place.
It'll be nice.
Heuch und schön die Zure. Sollst du so leben, Sarah, männerische Gewure. What beautiful fruit, and so well hung.
Try it. You'll like it.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. It's to die for. It'll be so sweet.
Tall, dark, and handsome. So masculine, so virile, so juicy.
Eva! Eve! Where did you go? Just look at how time flies. Is it September already? October? Are the holidays early or late this year? Eva! Wo bist du, ma chérie?
Adam.
Oh, Eva. Wo bist du gewesen, Eva, mein Weib? Where were you, my blushing bride?
Du and dort. Here and there. Am I blushing?
Well, who were you with?
Keine nicht. No one.
No one. So, what were you doing?
Gar nicht.
Gar nicht. So why are you so flushed?
Ich weiß nicht. I don't know.
You don't know. Wo bist du gewesen, Eva, mein Weib? Wo bist du gewesen, mein Kind?
Ich bin gewesen in der Pflaumenallee und gepläudert mit dem Wind.
Bist dich gewesen in der Pflaumenallee, der Pflaumenallee? Du sagst mir ein Liegen, Gore schmeckt doch mit Äpfel von dein Leib und mit Äpfel von deiner Haut.
Ich bin Tage gewesen in der Äppelallee, sag a schwachen Korn. Ich hab aus Tage getroffen, oder mein Mann, allein auf dein süße Korn.
Was hast du getan in der Äppelallee? Eva, mein golden Kind.
Ich hab gepläudert mit der Schlange, mit Koyach der Mitzwe sieht. Ich bin Tage gewesen in der Äppelallee, sag a schwachen Sekunden. Ich hab aus Tage getroffen, oder mein Weib, ein Leben auf dein süßen Kopf.
gonna take a walk on that forbidden path? He asked, whom did you take for a spin? I spun me a web of sexy serpent, she says, and we straight rapped on the virtue of sin. He simply could not see or comprehend, oh no, why his heart shudders and shakes with fear. Wanna flash so fast, her voice is smooth like molasses, and music to his ears. See how that apple shakes, rattles, and rolls. It takes away her breath. How the twilight in the sky hovers and foretells of pure passion and of death.
Es zittert der Apfel in mein Hand und winkelt wie Scharlachroit. Die Dämmerung, die Schattentäus, die Teife und der Teut.
I look at her and I sigh. I look at her and I wonder, why does the sun shine by day, and what inspires thunder? And I, Adam, the first man, I just can't seem to understand why her voice sounds so sweet and she is so full of charm. Ich streck mit der Zither die Hand zu ihr.
Was tust du an dem Haar?
Die Nacht lässt beide gestanden Neus und Passa Schiene macht Schau.
That was just a taste of the first act. The show ran close to a year, 8 performances a week to sold-out houses. And Joe, Yosl, was there almost every night. He would turn to Miriam and say,
Kid, this is the best time of my life. When I hear the audience laugh and respond to the sound of Yiddish, I feel as if a warm wave washes over me.
This little Joseph Papp Yiddish theater production of Songs of Paradise has appeared at international Yiddish festivals all over Europe and Israel with great success, and Joe's Jewish legacy lives on.
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright. For by thy gracious golden glittering gleams, I trust to take of truest Thisbe sight. But stay, O spite, but mark, poor night, what dreadful dole is here. Eyes, do you see? How can it be, O dainty duck? Oh dear, thy mantle good, what stained with blood? Approach, ye furies, fell. Oh, fates, come, come, cut thread and thrum, quail, crush, conclude, and quell.
We are here to keep Joe's memory alive, and today we celebrate the life, the legacy, and the miracle of the great Joe Papp.
Oh, wherefore, nature, didst thou lions frame, since lion vile have here deflowered, my dear, which is no, which was the fairest dame, that looked, that liked, that loved, that laughed with cheer. Our tears confound. Come, sword, and wound the Papp of Pyramus. I, that left Papp where heart doth hop. Thus die I, thus, thus, thus. Now am I dead. Now am I fled. My soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light. Moon, take thy flight. Now die, die. die, die, die.
It is our sincere hope that future generations will remember how Joe Papp changed the world of theater as we know it today. We have him to thank for the productions that have affected all of our lives. Thank you, Joe.
Spasiba balshoya, Joseph.
Muchas gracias, Jose.
Shukran, Yusuf.
Bon anniversaire, Joseph.
A shenem und hartzigen Dank, Yosl. And it is not too late to join us tonight at 7 p.m. when we continue our celebration of Joe Papp at 100 with a celebrity-studded virtual gala. There will be songs, scenes, and exclusive interviews and live appearances with many of the greatest stars and theatrical artists who knew and loved and worked with the great Joseph Papp.
Some of those celebrities include Nathan Lane, Mandy Patinkin, F. Murray Abraham, Blythe Danner, Estelle Parsons, John Lithgow, and so many more.
Visit our website, whyilovejewish.org, for tickets and information.
You won't want to miss it.
Good morning, starshine. The earth says hello. You twinkle above us. We twinkle below. Good morning, starshine. You lead us along. My love and me as we sing our early morning singing song.
When the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. Aquarius. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine in. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Let me introduce our cast. Laura Turnbull, Christopher Chisholm, Alexa LaSanta, John C. Roberts, Betty Silberman, the brilliant Phil Hinton on the keyboards. And my name is Avi Hoffman, and I thank you so much for joining us. Please come back at 7 o'clock for what will be a very special event. Thank you.